In today's video, we are going to be helping you get 2 million credits by using the wet line at Fuji in the Subaru Group 4 car. Now, if this guide does help you out, feel free to subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and let me know in the comment section how it's managed to improve your lap time. So let's go into this. We are at Fuji in the Group 4, obviously in heavy rain. If you want the guide for Ausgas, we have that on the channel also, so check that out. My predicted goal for this is probably going to be around 1 minute 50.5 because it will improve from the top time. Now, I'm obviously joining this a little bit late because I've been away on holiday, so it's quite hard to judge exactly where it's going to go to, but I would predict probably a 0.5. So let's jump into the lap and try and help you get this gold as easily as possible by using that wet line and where to use it and where to kind of not use it. So going into turn 1, we are obviously going to be using the wet line, and you're going to brake just before the 150 board on the left hand side. So we're looking for that 150 board there on the left. We're going to brake a fraction short of it. You can see there we're on the brakes just before that 150 board, and we're going to brake in a straight line, actually using the normal braking line going into the corner. But you can see we're going to turn in very late. We're actually going to turn past this white line that goes across the track here, and we're going to take a very wide entry into the corner. So you can see we're not going to go right up to the curb because we want to avoid that slippery area which will give you no traction. So you see very wide, using second gear for rotation. Then we're going to go back up to third gear, and you can see we're leaving that space for the curb there because we don't want to go up there. That's where you're going to lose traction and slide too much and not get the pull out of the corner. So using the wet line out of that corner and then getting the car back over to the right hand side for the fast left hand corner. Now for this corner, you're pretty much driving the normal line. We're going to actually brake just slightly short of the 100 board, almost dead on that 100 board. Better to brake slightly early here so that you can get the left hand tyre right up to the Astro on the left hand side. So you can see a little dab of the brakes there, and then we're going to get the car rotating into this left hand corner. And what you want the car to do is the left hand tyre needs to get really close to this bollard on the left. So you can see the bollard approaching, and we want the left hand tyre to almost skim that bollard. That will give you the rotation through the corner, and then stay in fourth gear through here. I recommend it seems to be much more smooth and actually rotate quite nice if you stay in fourth gear. Now on the exit of the corner, just be careful your left hand tyre does not go beyond that white line at that point of the exit of the curb, because you will get a penalty. Now you can see as we're going through the corner, just a little tiny bit of braking input and a lift off the throttle here as we're going to let the car just run wide and use that wet line as we let the car just slide out to the left. You don't want to be on the racing line here because you'll just lose the grip. So right up to the edge of the track, and I was a little bit delayed getting back on the throttle there, so possibly lost a tenth or so as I was a little bit hesitant to get on the throttle. Could have been a bit more aggressive. And then we're going to go into the next braking zone using that little red marker on the right hand side as your reference braking, just short of that, and then you're swinging the car from the right hand side. And again, you want to slightly avoid the normal dry line, so you don't want to get right up to the curb. You want to leave a couple of foot away from that curb just to get a bit more traction as you power out the corner. So you can see just missing the curb ever so slightly there. Use a little bit more of that wet line, and then use this outside line to accelerate through the corner and work your way into this next right hand corner. So completely flat out on this part of the track, and then we're going to be looking for the Dunlop board over there, over our head, for our braking reference, braking just short of this Dunlop board. So you can see it there. We're going to brake just a fraction short of that, as you see when we come up to the board now, onto the brakes there, and you can actually see the Dunlop board in the top right hand corner. Now at this point here, we're going to stay in fourth gear and get that car slowed down before we go into third gear. That will then help the car rotate into this right hand corner and enable you to get onto the throttle in third gear. So you can see right up to the curb here, you want your right hand side to use the full width of that Astro on the right hand side, and then you can get on the throttle really aggressive just before you're going into that corner and accelerate out the exit and into the next braking zone. Now for the next braking zone, we are going to use the start of the AstroTurf on the left hand side there. You can see we're braking just short of that AstroTurf, and that will enable you to get this car rotated. And again, slightly different line to what you'd normally use. You're not quite so up to the right hand side where the dry line is. We're going to take a slightly wider entry and then bring it back onto the curb where you would normally be on the dry line. And then just be very careful as you accelerate through this corner. You don't want to run off the track and go onto the grass there. So just using a bit of the curb. Now I turned a fraction too early here, but enabled myself to get on the brakes just before the end of the curb and downshifted to second to stop the car running wide, because you do not want to run really wide here. You want to keep a narrow line, keep it on that wet line, and then this will give you the ability to rotate and keep it tight to this apex. And then upshift to third gear again. Accelerating in third gear is very important for this car, and you can actually use a lot of the track on the outside here. You can actually see the Ghost in front of me using a massive amount of the width of the track there, but we're just going to use a bit of AstroTurf and then power our way into the final corner. Now, it's really important to get on the brakes fairly early for this corner, but you want to go a little bit wider than what you would think because you want to take that wide line. So you can see taking a very wide line, downshift into second gear for a little bit of rotation as the car's drifting out wide, and then back up to third gear once we start getting that rotation done. And you can see that wet line taking effect there, staying away from the curb. Traction's there with the wet line, and then it's just a case of powering our way all the way down to the finishing line for a pretty solid, not an amazingly fast lap, but I think we go over the line for a 1 minute 48.266. So yeah, hopefully that information can help you out. What we're going to do is run that lap again from chase camera without pausing it, so you can see it with kilometers an hour and we can talk through it again. And from this view, it's really good to actually see the gaps away from the normal dry line because you can see the full width of the car. So again, into turn one, you're going to see that full car's width away from the curb because we want to avoid that dry line where the grip won't be as high, and that outside line really works nicely there to carry the speed out the exit. Now obviously for this next left hand corner, you can't really take a dry line because if you do, you're going to sacrifice your entry into the corner. So you take a normal line, use the curb, and then just use that fourth gear to power out the exit. Just be cautious, don't run too far wide on the exit. And again, very important to stay to the full width of the track here. Just be careful you don't go onto the white line on the exit there. I was a little bit hesitant on the front. I think I lost at least a tenth or so there because I was a little bit too nervous about putting the power down. And again, just a little bit of a gap before the curb. Normally you'd be right up to that curb, but with the wet line you want to stay a little bit wider and give yourself that traction on the exit as we work our way into this next right hand corner. And again, for this corner you're pretty much taking the normal dry line because it's a high speed corner, and you can see we're holding that shift quite late to third gear just to rotate the car through the corner, and then we're going to work our way into this next right hand corner, which we're going to brake nice and early here and then just let the car rotate in third gear. We don't need to go down to second gear, and then this corner we're going to use a little bit of second gear because I got a little bit too much on the curb, and you can see that second gear just bites it in, stops it rotating, and then back up to third gear for the acceleration. Do not use second gear for the acceleration, make sure you're in third. And again, the same for this long right hand corner, using that wide line. Avoid the dry line, which is going to give you no traction. You see a massive gap to the curb there, and that's deliberate. We want to get that traction from the corner and then power out in third gear and then work your way to the finishing line. So yeah, if this has helped you out, let me know in the comments. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. We do these videos every single week. This one's a little bit late this week because I've been away on holiday, but we're back now, so back to normal schedule. And yeah, we'll be live plenty through the week as well. So I'll see you in the live streams, everyone. Take care, everyone.